Hi, I'm David Fleming from the Disciples Ignited YouTube channel, where we're focused on Jesus, advancing his kingdom, and preparing his disciples. Now, we started this new study on the book of Romans, and we've just begun. We're still in the introduction, which is Romans 1, chapter 1, verses 1 through 17. And today we're going to be dealing with the heart of Paul as he's writing this letter to the Romans. Do you realize that Paul has this great burden for the Romans, a great love for the Romans, and he has never gone there to minister? He didn't start the church in Rome. He's never ministered there, although he has had a desire to go there before, but yet he tells us that he had been hindered from being able to go minister to them. Let me read to you in Romans chapter 1 verse 13, he says, I do not want you to be unaware, brothers and sisters, that I planned many times to come to you, but have been prevented from doing so until now. He wanted to go minister to them, but he had been prevented. What prevented him? I don't know. But I do know this, that he, from this burden and love that he had for the Romans, he had been praying for them for quite some time before he even went there to minister. We're told this in Romans chapter 1, verses 9 and 10. Let me read it to you. Paul says, without ceasing, I mention you always in my prayers. Wow. You know, Paul really is such an example to us. He isn't going there just to minister because he wants to further his platform of ministry. No, he has a burden for the Roman Christians. He has a love for them. He wants to go minister to them because he loves them. He has a burden for them. He's been praying for them. Oh man, how this just really touches my heart. Because, you know, so many times we may speak to other people about Jesus out of guilt, well, I've got to share, or we're doing it out of a compulsion, which is not a bad thing, because the Holy Spirit does compel us to go spread the gospel. But wouldn't it be so much better if we're not only propelled by the Spirit, but that we already have this love for those to whom we're going to be ministering? So much so that we've been praying for them. Wouldn't that get our hearts just ready to give if it's coming out of love and a burden, than if we're just being sent out of trying to relieve ourselves of a guilt trip? Well, Paul gives us this example, and it really is the example of Jesus. Jesus came to us out of love. Paul went to the Romans because he loved. May we follow their example and go spread the gospel, not just because they need to hear, but because we have a burden, but because we have a love for the lost and for those that we want to help grow in Jesus. Oh, this is just the beginning of Paul's letter to the Romans. So join me tomorrow. There's a lot more to learn.